Welcome back to NRM 638, Python Scripting for GIS Applications. This is an e-learning class at the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and it's spring semester 2015. In this session, we're going to build some containers for buttons called menus and a container for tools called tool palettes. But before we do this, I have some add-in toolbars, and you could make these disappear by right mouse clicking and then scrolling to wherever you have them checked on and checking them off. Or we could use the add-in manager. So if we go to customize and go to the add-in manager, and we could permanently remove these add-ins from our well-known folder. So I'm going to remove these. So delete this add-in, delete this add-in, delete this add-in, and delete this add-in. And what it really did was it deleted it from the folder that ArcMap looks at when you launch ArcMap. So if we exit out of ArcMap and then go to My Documents, ArcGIS, Add-ins, there's no add-ins in that location now. So that's basically what the add-in manager did, was just simply delete those add-ins from that location. But they're still at the same location where you created them. So for example, I created some add-ins at C test. Here's a test add-in. So basically you can always rebuild your add-ins and reinstall your add-ins. Okay, so I made two new folders, one called add-in button menu and a second called add-in tool palette. So we'll make tool palettes, and I'll explain how that works. So we fire up our add-in wizard, and we'll scroll to that location where we have a new folder. So add-in tool palette folder. And it will be an ArcMap, and we'll name it, and we'll give it version 1. And then we'll give it the same description. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we'll create a toolbar. So new toolbar. And then in that toolbar, we're going to create a new tool palette. And then we could have that palette have columns. Let's keep it with 2 columns. And then on that palette, we'll put tools. Let's do 2 tools. So one tool and then our second tool. And then we'll name our first tool. Let's call this circle tool. And our message will be draw a circle on data frame. And then our second tool, we'll call this line tool. And then the message will be draw a line on your data frame. So we have our palette, and our tools will be in the palette. And we could say give us that as a menu style or not menu style. And let's give a icon for our circle tool. So C programs x86, ArcGIS, desktop, bin, icons. And then I just pick a icon for my circle tool. And then my line tool will do the same thing. So we'll pick a image for our line tool. So I'll just pick this icon for my line tool. Okay, and then we'll save our work, and then we'll edit our Python script associated with this add-in. So we'll open our folder for this, and then the install folder, and then edit. Okay, so our first tool is going to be a circle tool. So let's copy and paste that keyword circle, and then we can get rid of some of these classes. So get rid of these events. So on circle, what we'll do is print. So on circle, it's going to return the geometry of circle. And one of the properties of circle geometry is the area. So we'll print this object circle geometry dot area. So that will be our first tool. And this print statement will be in the Python window. And our second tool, we'll make it a line tool. So Control C to copy and Control V to paste. And then we'll have several events with this line. So let's get rid of the mouse down because that refers to page units. And we'll get rid of the mouse down or mouse move, because that would give us a lot of XY coordinates every time you move the mouse. But we'll keep mouse up map and mouse down map. And we'll get rid of the keys. And on circle we'll get rid of, and we'll get rid of on rectangle. So on mouse down event will return whenever the mouse is down the XY coordinate in the map units. So we'll print this, and then we could copy and paste this. So on mouse up, print mouse up event, and then return the XY coordinate whenever the mouse is up. And then on line, we'll have geometry, and one of the properties of line geometry is line length. So we could print that property also. So Control C to copy, Control V to paste, then dot length is a property of line geometry. So then we'll save our work and we'll check for syntax errors. So no syntax errors. So then the next step will be we'll install it. So we jump up to make add-in, and then add-in, install it. So then we can test drive our add-in in ArcMap. Okay, so basically our tool palette is like a drop-down menu. So here's our toolbar, and here's the tools in our toolbar. So that's analogous to if we have our drawing toolbar. Here's a tool palette for our drawing toolbar. So let's test drive our circle tool. And then if we look at our Python window, the area of that circle was 40,212 meters because the map coordinate system of this ortho photo is in meters. And then our second tool was our line tool. So that draws a line in our data frame. So mouse down event, it returns the XY coordinate of that location. And then double click returns the line length of that line. So it was 662 meters. And then the mouse up event, what was the map XY coordinate at that location? So basically we can create lines, and that returns a line object, and then what is the length of this line object? So I double click, the length of that line object is 961 meters. Okay, so that's basically what the mouse down event and the mouse up event and the mouse move event would return the XY coordinates of wherever you're pointing to. And then we've got the circle object will return a circle, and one of the properties of the circle is area. And then the line would return a line object, and one of the properties of the line is the line length. Okay, so the other thing we can do is create a container for buttons called a menu. So we'll go to our add-in assistant shortcut and set our working folder to add-in button menu. And then we'll name this Python add-in and then add-in contents. So once again, we'll make a new toolbar. And then on that toolbar, we'll make a new menu. And we'll call this button menu. And then on that button menu, we'll make new buttons. So button 1, and we'll make our second button. And we'll call this button 2. Okay, and then we could add a tooltip and a message if we want to for these two buttons. So for now, let's just save our work, and then we'll edit our Python script. So that's once again in the install folder. So now we've got our two buttons, and let's just do, whenever we click on this button, we'll do a message box. So if we click on button 1, we'll have a message box button 1 click event, and then we could give that message box a title, and then the style will be 0, which is just OK button. And then our second one is if we click on button 2, message box, button 2 click event. And then we'll save our work, check for syntax errors, and then we'll build our add-in. And then install our add-in. And then we'll test drive this new button menu in ArcMap. Okay, so we've got our button menu, and it's simply a drop down. So now we've got button 1. We didn't assign it an image, so it's text in this case. So we click on button 1 and we get a message box. And in our drop down menu, we click on button 2, we get a message box. Okay, so you can think of palettes and menus as simply graphical containers. And menus are a graphical container for buttons where you click on the button and something happens. And palettes are graphical containers for tools where you click on the tool, nothing will happen until you actually use the tool in your data frame. And then something will happen associated with that tool. Okay, so if you go to the Blackboard website, the next video session is on combo boxes.